Are you on?
We're on. This is Tim here on Roundtable Talk with
Mary White.
Mary White, and we're doing another one of these conversations. We are together because we are doing show designs together, and we're in my office. Sometimes it's great for us to actually meet in person to do this work. It's very helpful.
Yes. And I have spring break these couple of days, so I came up the last couple of days. We're going to go see a color guard show, so it was perfect to meet together.
Right, and so one of the things we want to talk about is we are working on planning shows for bands in the fall, and one of those is flag designs, and sometimes there's flag designs that are sewn traditional way, but sometimes there are digital flags because that's a new thing. And there's issues that we have to deal with when we make those decisions about digital flags. Can't talk.
There's a great podcast on the podcast about digital versus fabric designs.
There is a good one.
And I think you should listen to that. But I think that people think any image can go up on a digital flag, but the digital flag companies have certain requirements too. It has to be a certain amount of dots per inch or DPI. In addition to that, it has to be a copyright-free image or something that you purchase so that the image is not, copyright is not a problem.
Right. This is really important. You can't just pick any image that you see online and put it on a flag. You have to be able to have permission to have it reprinted.
Correct.
To use it. And as you said, it has to be an image that can be blown up really big, because think about it, on your screen it may look like this and it looks great.
Awesome.
When you blow it up to the size of a giant flag that you're going to be spinning around, it has to be super crisp so it looks good when it's blown up.
Correct.
Yeah.
There's a lot of websites that you can purchase from. Shutterstock, iStock,
you simply pay a small fee to be able to use the image in any number of ways that you want to use it. We did a show about Van Gogh.
Right.
And we wanted to use Van Gogh images, and we went to a site where we could purchase the copyright to print those images of his artwork.
And that's really important because
it was very important to the show.
Especially with artists, because artists, even though Van Gogh is no longer living, and I'm sure some of it might be copyright free, but it's very important that you go through those stages so that you're following all the procedures and protocols and you're doing the right thing.
Right, which is true of all copyright.
Correct.
It's true if you're using certain things that are written, certain music, all of that you have to get copyright for. Well, it's true for digital flags too. So just make sure that talk to the company that you're going to be using to print your digital flags and say, what are the rules? What do I need to know? If I get an image, how do I find out if I can use it? They'll help you.
They will.
Yeah.
And we have purchased images and they've altered the images for us. Like we say, well, we love this, but we really want only this part of it, and can you make this bigger? And depending on the dots per inch and the quality of the image, they can do those things. And they have artists on their staff who are terrific.
Yeah, they're wonderful, and they can, or even if you take an image but they decide maybe they want to crop it in a little bit or angle it a little bit. We've done all of those things. We've added words. Sure. We've changed the sky to blue. Like it's really possible to do a lot of things. And yes, you might pay them a little bit for that service, but this is an important service that you need, and they're doing work for you. So.
And you want to do it the right way. Yeah. They also, one thing that they're really skilled at is you want the flag to look great in the air. And they might say, I love this image, but that sure isn't going to look like you think it's going to look in the air. And they'll tell you that. And you can ask, what do you think of this flag?
Right, because of course, as it turns, right, or is it going to read well from the stands?
Right.
All of these things are really important. You need to take into account, and they're there to help you with that. So the great thing about digital flags is that you can get them really fast.
Yeah, fast.
Because I love a good sewn flag with pieces of fabric. I love that look, and sometimes that's just what you need. In fact, maybe most of the time that's still what you need.
Yes.
But if you're using a digital image, the great thing is usually they can get them printed in 2 or 3 weeks.
Right.
Unless you're in prime time in the middle of the summer, right before the season, you haven't planned ahead, and then it's a little longer.
Sure. And one thing to ask them about when getting digital images, ask what it's going to look like in the air, what it's going to read from the field, but how is light going to pass through it? What's going to be the saturation of those colors? Is light going to pass through it or not? Because you could have this beautiful peacock feather in your mind and you see it and it's rich greens and blues and purples. But then when it's spread out and light is going through it, it does not show that same depth of color. So consider those kind of things and ask the questions if you need to.
And of course, what she's describing is that's different on the field than it is inside a winter guard. So you have to take all the things into account. as you know. But anyway, take it into account. You have to get the copyright. You have to purchase the use of the image if it's not copyright free.
Sure. And if you have any questions, please email me at mary@marchingroundtable.com. Mary@marchingroundtable.com?
You said it right. And I'm Tim at marchingroundtable.com. You can ask us anything, and we'll try to direct you to the right person if we don't know. So that's good, important topic.
Well, they can't ask us everything, Tim.
Well, they understand.
Okay.
What's appropriate, I hope. All right, we'll stop right there. Thanks, everybody.
Have a question for a Roundtable talk, or have a suggestion for a podcast topic or guest? Go to marchingroundtable.com and click here on Feedback, or here on Ask Tim a Question. Don't forget you can always find podcasts on topics that interest you by searching in our podcast archives. And when you go to YouTube to watch a Roundtable Talk video, make sure and subscribe so you never miss a single episode of Roundtable Talk.